Hey guys, it's Garrett DMG here, back with a video. And today I want to show you guys, if you notice, everything that's mentioned about alien has something to do with something spiritual and has something to do that's demonic. And I'll get into a lot of detail about that. But first I want to get into another topic too. It's kind of like a mixed video of like multiple different things. I also wanted to get into the fact that like just because you're Christian doesn't mean you're a happy Christian. You know what I mean? And I'll get into detail about that. I'm not saying like you're not happy because you know the gospel. The gospel is amazing. You know, it's great news. It's sacred. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? But the outside logic behind the rest that follows makes me not a happy camper and not a happy Christian, and I'll get into detail about that. Well, first off, it's like just knowing the people that you care about ain't gonna all make it up to the pearly gates. It's sad to think about. It's a sad realization that everybody that says Lord, Lord won't be saved. Me included, potentially, you know what I mean? It's a sad thing. It makes me, like... It just makes my spirit just plummet, man. And then, just like the other things along with that. Just like how we're living in... See, another thing that always confused me as a Christian is... People say, oh, alright, we can make heaven on earth, blah, blah, blah. But little do they know, Lucifer owns this realm. You know what I mean? He owns this realm. So it's like, I can't really wrap my head around being here if it's owned by the darkest of the dark. Honest to God, I don't want no part of it. Any type of darkness around in this world, I want no part of it. I don't even want to... I've developed almost like a childlike faith into the Lord at this point where it's like, anything dark, I don't want to be attuned to it. I don't want to be connected to it by any means. Barely even the physical. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm taking this walk alone. And like God's revealing himself to me in like so many like horrific ways. Like scary ways, and I don't know. It's like something else. And like sometimes I'll go to sleep, call me crazy, call me nuts. I'll go to sleep and sometimes I feel like I have like either the Lord or like seraphim talking to me. Call me crazy, call me nuts, but like I feel that sometimes. I don't know. Like I feel like whenever I go to sleep, something like talks to me and tells me like good things that's to come. Not bad things, but like good things. Like how I need to strengthen my faith and like how I need to, I don't know. Like my subconscious will kick in. It's weird. I don't even know like how to even put it into words, but... And I'm not trying to weird anybody out. I'm not trying to steer anybody away from the faith. I'm not trying to sit there and indoctrinate anybody with false narrative or lead anybody astray. I just want to share like my like encounters with what I think could be a divine. Because angels, they enter our minds through thoughts. They enter the world through a physical form. They can even look like humans. So it's like you could be so blind to the holy, and you could be so blind to the divine, but so attuned to the world of Lucifer. It's like so... It makes me want to change my frequency like a radio and really hone in on the angels and the higher divine. Because it's so easy to hone into the dark stuff of this world. It's so easy. But like everything is showing me, and this is going to lead into my other topic that I wanted to get into, but Just like everything is leading me to a fact that there's a creator lately. And that's not, these aren't my thoughts. You know what I mean? Just as much as this body isn't mine. 50% to my mom, 50% to my dad. So it's like, my soul alone is my keeping. So it's like, with these thoughts entering my mind, they're not mine. Like, I don't own them. But they are a part of me. If that makes sense. So it's like now, like I don't know. Like I've become on this new level of consciousness that's honing into the higher divine. If that makes sense. And now I'm starting to look at things with my mind's eye, you can say. Or your mind's seraphim. That's what I call it. Because the pineal gland literally looks like an eyeball. So as much as the seraphim that you see, they look like an eye. You know what I mean? So it's like it correlates. And God made us in his image, including our consciousness. So you can't tell me that these angels aren't contacting us. They're not. You can't tell me that they're not. Okay? Call me crazy, call me nuts. Maybe I didn't take my depression meds this morning, I don't know. But that's just like what I've been thinking. Every time I go to bed, I feel like a divine energy talking to me. It's strange. And like I think it mentions it in Psalms. I'm not even sure, but it says those who put their focus towards God, he'll communicate with them. I don't know, in some sort of like fashion, how that works. I don't know, guys. Crazy. This video is like mostly spiritual, theological thoughts. So like I said, I'm not take it all with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that something is actually happening here, but I'm just saying that lately, since the end times and since I've been investing myself into more of the divine, I've been finding it. You know what I mean? And I don't know, lately, like, all these thoughts have been telling me just to get closer to the divine and just really study up on things and like double question things too. And like take a look at my spirituality around me. I can't speak. But like I said, the world is literally owned by Lucifer himself. So like that thought of like making heaven on earth and stuff like that completely like, it just misses me altogether. Because like that's impossible. Anything that's good and divine that comes from upstairs. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't sit there and try and make heaven on earth. You can't. It's impossible. The only piece of heaven that you do get is from the higher divine. That's the only way it works. Same reason as to why he sacrificed himself for your sin. You know what I mean? He brought the divine. Christ, he brought the divine to this world. It's not the world that brought the divine to him. He brought the divine here as Jesus Christ. So like that's the gospel at the end of the day. Everything good through you is through him. Your works are his works. And it's because of his works that you're doing your works. You know what I mean? So like, man, like, I don't know. I just been bumping into like a lot of like God related stuff lately. I've been like getting so much closer to the divine, and like, man, the world's been speaking to me through him. And I can totally hear it. I'm honing in on it. And you know what's crazy is like so much so that I'm looking at basic stuff around the world and I'm like, wow. Like my discernment, his discernment is working through me, and I'm just like, I'm eyeballing all this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow. Like I'm just like completely like explaining things through my mind from him and from his divinity. If that makes sense. It's like weird. Just like half of this stuff that's around is just like, you can use your discernment to put it in a summary for you guys. The stuff of this world you could put in discernment and figure out like, wow, you know, you find the divine truth through it. So much so that you ignore it altogether because you know it's not good for you, or it doesn't really benefit you. In any type of divine way or type of holiness. You know what I mean? It's wild to me. And like I said, he works outside of time, space, and matter. So you can't even fathom that. You can't even fathom how he operates. You can't even fathom that. And it's like I've been using my discernment with like a lot of stuff lately. It's like even the Artemis 2 mission. I keep pronouncing that name wrong. The whole name Artemis, that comes from Roman mythology, right? Or that comes from Roman lore. What did the Romans do? They took out Christ. You know what I mean? Therefore, they made a whole freaking fictional divine storyline that mimics that of his. If you think about it. Like all the Roman goddesses and stuff, that's all demonic. That's all condoning the lore that took down Christ. You know what I mean? I didn't even realize that. Like, it's certain things like that, for example. And then, like, if you look at the Artemis 2 mission itself, let me get my map out here. Right here, I know it looks like a 5th grader drew on it, but right here is like my representation of the firmament. It's kind of like a lot. But let me explain to you like what this actually is here. So you got the sun, right? And then you got the moon. Alright, so this line here that's going down, that's like parallel to the firmament here that you're looking at, that is how they plan, to me. I may be wrong. I'm not saying I'm like right. It's just the signs that I've seen and the amount of lore that I've come to know when it comes to Christianity and the Bible on its own. This is how it logically makes sense to me, how they planned that trip of Artemis this whole time. And remember, they're naming a trip after Roman mythology, the same mythology that killed our Christ. So you can't tell me that this can't be taken with a grain of salt, at least, right? So if you look at this here, you see the moon here, right? And the Artemis 2 mission was to travel to it. But remember, in the Bible it says the stars are about as far as the firmament. So we could never see it, people. We could never see it. The only time we could actually see that there's signs of a firmament, remember, to admire his handiwork. The stars, the measurement of the stars. Rainbows when it rains. You know what I mean? He set these levels on purpose. The clouds, then above that, the ozone, you might as well say. Then you go higher up, you see the stars. You can even see the stars during the day. And you can look this up. Look it up. You can clearly see, or well, you can't see, but if you search up, are stars present during the day? It will say yes. Meaning that we don't, I don't know. Like, people can say that, oh, there's stars surrounding the whole globe. But at the same time, you can also theorize and say, and hypothesize that the Earth doesn't rotate either then. Not if you can see stars you can even have stars during the day, but we just can't see them. So it's like, when they planned this Artemis mission, they went up to where we can't see them. You know what I mean? They go high enough, where we can't see these guys. So they go up. They go up to the point and they do the best sleight of hand possible. And then they go along the firmament. Then they go circle right back down to the oceans. You know what I mean? So they're not leaving the firmament. Whenever I always say that nobody's leaving this firmament, that's what I mean. Because you can travel up above the levels. You can go from ground to the cloud zone. Then from the cloud zone up to the ozone layer. Then from the ozone layer, we can't see you anymore. We can't. And then they can sit there, they could do camera work, cinematography. They can play us. They could literally do the best sleight of hand in history that we've ever seen. So they're going up here. They are going towards the stars. Those look like outer space out there. But it's not the outer space of the firmament, if that makes sense. It's exactly what's going on. They're going up here. They're seeing the stars. They're seeing, Earth from this view. But they're not leaving the firmament. Because it's so far out. So much so that you need sunlight to show us his handiwork. When it rains down here, it causes evaporation. And the sunlight reflects off the prism, which is the firmament. And that's how you get rainbows. That's how you get those perfectly dome-shaped bows in the sky. And a lot of people have even said even the Aurora Borealis is a bow. So that's what I'm saying. That's the only way you're able to see this. Other than that, they can trick us all day. We would never know. We'd honestly never know. Because you know why? This whole celestial dome, it carries all these stars up here. And there's billions of them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. The distance between this and the clouds and where we are on Earth, so far away. So far away. You know what I mean? So we'll never see this firmament. We will never. We would need God himself to show us and actually take a look at it. But we would never see that. In theory. Like I said, this is all a theory here. But at the same time, what backs up my claims even more, we never found the bottoms of our oceans. We never even explored all of our ocean floors. And who was doing oceanic exploration back then? NASA. So you can't really tell me that what you've learned and what you've been indoctrinated to believe, you can't double question. At least. Yeah, maybe I don't have all the facts. But at the same time, it's like, this is how they're doing it, theoretically speaking. They're going up towards the point of no return where you can't see, and they're doing the sleight of hand. They're circling right back to the ocean. You know what I mean? And like I said, there's been so many ideologies about aliens and this and that. They're not aliens. They're Nephilim. They're actually Nephilim, or fallen angels even, because they're outside of our zone, and they found all of this as inhabitable. All these waters that surround us, they found it as inhabitable, and that's why we'll never be able to catch these guys. We'll never be able. They're so advanced, and literally the Book of Enoch confirms that archangels came down and they shown man how to invent all this technology. Fallen angels came down and they shown man how to invent all this stuff. You know what I mean? And so much so, let me get my Bible out here. So much so that if you read Daniel talks about how in the end times, if you look back towards where Nebuchadnezzar actually had his dream and where he mentions it, it says, and whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with merry clay, the days of Noah, right? It says, and whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves by the seed of men. Meaning Nephilim are gonna come about again in the days of the end. So that's what I'm saying, man. You can't tell me that aliens aren't spiritual, and you also can't tell me that they have nothing to do with the dark forces of this world. You know what I mean? And because of that, if that's the case, then there's a divine spirit. There's a Holy Father. Right? And with that being said, we're in a firmament. We are in a different realm than what they want us to believe. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's been like a lot of deception upon this world. And it's going to keep happening. You know what I mean? Because even the book of Daniel prophesizes about this. And it kind of opened my eyes up, because back then I used to be so scientific. But like, little did I know that being scientific is like an acorn compared to the tree of what God has made the world to be. You know what I mean? And science changes every day, but people refuse to believe it. Science changes every day and coerces us into this false indoctrination. You know what I mean? So that's what really makes me think that, man, like, there actually is there's a bigger spiritual realm than we realize. And there's a lot more to the eyes than what they just see. And what they just hypothesize about. And what they just test about. I don't know, call me crazy, but it's the truth, man. Like, all this stuff is actually lining up. You know what I mean? And it even says towards the end times, during when, you know, the shit really hits the fan, they say the stars are gonna fall down. You know what I mean? So it's like they're literally gonna shake things up. It's gonna get wild, guys. But let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Do you think I'm just some crazy guy? Oh, we must build an ark, or do you think that like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you read all the biblical terms, and remember this stuff used to be curriculum. Okay? So why would they stop teaching this stuff in school? Why would they stop doing all this? And education has a lot to do with the Roman Empire. If you think about it. The Colosseum too. You know, to fool everybody, and they've been doing this since day one. Think about it. The Romans back then, they've been killing people. They've been indoctrinating people with false narrative. It's a Roman ideology. It's literally a Roman ideology, the way this world operates. And it's all under Luciferian indoctrination and Luciferian influence. So, let me know what you think down in the comments below, guys. Do you think I'm just some nut? Or do you think that, wow, this is one heck of a theory, and maybe we're onto something? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.